right in front of it was a beautiful fall day. The sun was shining.
Yeah.
And the president of Villa Marconi was there. I said, geez, Lucha, wouldn't this be nice if this became available?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
probably sure enough, about 3 weeks later, it did.
Oh, it became available.
And,
Did you approach the nuns or no? They
No,
approached
they
you.
approached Lucio. They called him.
They called Lucho.
Yeah.
Ah.
And because there was other groups after it, eh?
Ah.
And they figured because they thought the nuns were concerned about the chapel.
Yes. And where's the chapel today?
They could, well, yeah. But they figured because we were Catholic that
Yes.
we would use, you know.
So they preferred the Italian group.
But, well, that was it. And then, sure enough, it popped up. Then I brought different people in from Toronto. I did. I went and I got Ron Barbaro to come down, take a look around.
Oh yeah.
And he looked at it and says, you know, this is great. He says, for the meantime, you should be doing this to raise funds.
Yeah.
Because they had an outside volleyball
Court.
court.
Yeah.
He said, you know, you should be using this. And he said, the chapel upstairs and,
Yeah.
you know, the hall downstairs. You get them married upstairs and you get them
That's
downstairs.
right. It's a fit-in.
Of course, we had to make arrangements with the church and all that.
Yeah.
But he gave a lot of ideas. And then
So-
I brought down Pal. Pal
Oh, Pal Julio. Okay.
I went and got him.
What year was that? 94,
Oh,
93?
Christ.
Before you bought the place or after you
No,
bought?
we were in Villa Marconi.
Okay.
And he came down, came down twice, 2 or 3 times actually.
Yeah.
First time he came down and he talked, we had a meeting upstairs
Yes.
in the chapel. I
Yeah.
think it was, in the chapel. And people were asking questions, you know.
Yeah.
And he was talking to about the difficulties and what's going to happen and
Yeah.
on and on. And,
Yeah. What was his motto? He says, "Build it and people will come."
yeah, well, he was saying, you know, because he was, don't forget that they had come through a lot of difficulties themselves.
Villa Colombo.
See, and he was the executive director of one portion. Now
He's the president of Villa Charities. With the
Yeah.
book that I have.
he's learned. He's very smart and he learned on the
Yeah.
job.
He was a teacher, eh?
Yeah, and don't forget they had a lot of money flowing in there. They had the money available. Eh?
Well, they had
Then
more
they had
resources
the
than
political
Ottawa.
muscle to get it from the government too.
Yeah.
There's-
Well, wasn't there a time when they were going to go bankrupt and
Yeah, well,
the government forgave their loan?
they were. Yeah, what had happened was that's when they converted the fundraiser because there was a earthquake disaster in Italy.
Okay.
So they converted it to that, the fundraiser.
Yes.
But it was originally to
for Villa Colombo.
to help Villa Colombo. But the government forgave quite a few. I think it was 6 million. I forget. But look it up in the paper in your computer.
Yeah, in Google.
Globe and Mail say Villa Marconi.
We republished something about that particular earthquake, because the Canadians went over to help out, and there was a family from Nova Scotia.
Yes, that was the cook was a
But
cook.
that's
Yeah.
and then they started to stabilize,
Yeah.
and and then the community was maturing.
Yeah.
They had people with a lot of money and that were civic oriented, and they started to participate, and so they had that strength. Then they had political muscle too, because a lot of these people were not only liberals, but they were smart enough to have conservatives
That's
too.
right, exactly. Both sides with Gary Guzzle
And and they had
and Mike Harris,
what's his name? The senator was a conservative.
Danino. Was it Danino?
Yeah.
But he didn't do much for Villa Marconi. Senator Danino, he didn't do much. Danino,
Yeah, he was there. He was directed.
but he didn't give any money to Villa Marconi.
Oh, to Villa Marconi?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm talking about Villa.
Oh, Villa
Church.
Colombo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And so they got money, and they knew, and they
They had a lot
developed
of
different
influence.
strategies,
Yeah.
and they became expertise on that.
Yeah.
My idea was, because Ottawa was here, Toronto was there, Montreal was here.
Yeah.
You know, when you look at that
Corridor.
those 3 centers,
Yeah.
the bulk of the Italian community was in there. Eh?
Yeah.
And to coordinate and work with each other for asking information and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That was my vision anyway.
Exactly.
But he came down a couple of times,
Pal de Julio.
and to encourage people.
How did Mion get involved in this? Luigi Mion, how did he get involved?
Well, he was asked
By Lucho?
Yeah.
by Olita.
Olita Schultz?
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess. And then he said, came the first time, he says, well, he says, I can't get involved right now. He says, but when you get serious
Something
and
concrete,
prepared,
yeah.
come and see me.
Okay.
And he did. And,
Okay, so it was Olita Schultz then? Olita Schultz?
Well, Olita was her secretary for
Yeah.
a long time. And
She was the secretary of the board?
who was?
Olita Schultz?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so she did a lot of work, Olita. She was good.
So maybe that's the one lady
Anyway,
you got
you
to
see,
interview,
we
Olita
had
Schultz.
our first meeting we had, Lucho, myself, and Dr. Bonardi.
Who's Dr. Bernardi?
We didn't know at the time, but there was an ad in the paper
Lisa Bernardi.
of nursing home beds that are going to be available to the community,
Right.
multicultural community, and all. 60 beds.
60.
Ridiculous.
Not enough to make
So
it go.
I went to the first one.
Yeah,
Didn't know that Lucha was there or anybody else.
yeah.
Then we met there and we.
That's the first time you met Lucio Apolloni?
Eh?
That's the first time you met Lucio
Oh
Apolloni?
no, I knew him before.
Oh, you know him before. Right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because of the Congress, we had.
Yeah. He was involved in the Congress?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He was one of the first presidents, and we done a lot of things together. And so then Bonardi was there too. So I always remember, and I don't know whether you were at the thing for Lucho. We had a fundraiser,
No. I was
and
there.
at Parliament Hill, what's his name was a member of Parliament, cabinet minister, not Shasha, something like that. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they got the room there,
Yeah.
and they asked me to say a few words, which I did, and I talked about when we met there at the Skyline. It's changed now,
Yeah.
and after the meeting we went outside, and Surgeon Motors was still there on Spark Street,
Oh, yes.
and there was a post, and it was nice, and we were talking about ideas and so on.
Yeah.
And I said we were under the lamppost like Lily Marlene.
Yeah.
The song, underneath the
yeah,
lamppost.
yeah, underneath the lamppost.
Then we decided we would inform the community. And the first meeting we had with the community was at the Senior Citizens Hall on Balsam downstairs.
Downstairs, yeah.
And,
What year was that? 89?
Yeah.
Not 89, eh?
And so we talked about it and wanting to get the people to explain what, their vision and all this. And we had not too bad a turnout actually.
Good. So people were interested.
Yeah, and
That
then we
time.
started from there. Then there were some surveys made, like Luigi Petrol.
Oh, yes.
He made some survey
Okay.
because he was involved with seniors
yeah,
and that.
Yeah.
And other things
Senior
like that,
services.
And
So the surveys were used as a backbone, as a
yeah, they were
support
used.
to see whether there was demand or.
Yeah, and then of course, when we made the offer, you had to, you had to prepare a book. I still have it that thick,
Oh, you have a book.
of your proposal,
Okay, of the proposal.
the names of the people who were involved, and blah blah blah.
You should get a copy of that book.
And did you get one?
No,
No.
you have one. You should get
I think
one.
I do. Yeah.
There's a lot of information probably there,
And,
especially the
so
founders.
That's another interesting thing.
Yeah.
We thought we were incorporated. I
Yes.
won't mention the name of the lawyer.
Oh, I know who the
forgot.
lawyer was, but he didn't incorporate you.
We were using somebody else's number.
Oh, corporate number.
And then Lucho, of course, Lucho was younger then and more explosive.
Oh yeah, we're at the meeting.
I really blew up. So anyway, right away we had to reapply to get
Exactly,
a
they
proper
got the number, the corporate number,
which we did.
as a non-profit
Yeah.
organization.
So anyway, the book was prepared, and the deadline was, I think, on a Friday or on Monday. I forget.
Yeah.
But there was a huge snowstorm in Ottawa.
Ooh,
A big snowstorm.
okay,
And we were concerned about getting it up there, but we eventually did.
you got it up.
I phoned Paul Pellegrini
Make sure you had it.
because he was the executive director for Kaplan,
Yeah.
and he said, well, just go ahead and
Submit
do
it.
your best.
Yeah.
And they didn't hear any more, and then finally we were notified.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it was in June, close to summertime. We went up to Villa Marconi, about 5 of us,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and Kaplan was there in the gardens of Villa Marconi, Villa Colombo,
Villa Colombo.
and they
Yeah.
were announcing from different sections of
Okay.
Ontario.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they came to Nepean, and we were there, and then they said, the Villa Marconi, 60 beds.
Yes.
So we got them all.
You got
Now,
them all.
these 60 beds were for the multicultural group in Ottawa.
Okay.
So you could see the thinking
Yeah.
of whoever was in charge of this
Yeah,
project
yeah, yeah.
originally.
Yeah, thought about the
They
money.
didn't realize all of the people and new immigrants coming into the country.
That's right.
And they were just having problems then with them.
Yeah.
So anyway, we
So
finally
they
got
announced
it, and then it started to get more formal.
Yeah, yeah.
And then-
yeah.
Well, you got involved too, and then
Yeah,
we
but I got
started
involved
to
in
the-
94,
to the
95.
fundraiser for
Yeah,
the-
94, 95.
That
I
was
got involved in
big.
fundraising.
That was a big thing
Yeah,
to get the money,
yeah.
and that was the other thing too. You know, whether to go ahead when we had the final reports in,
Yes.
and there were people that realized, no, unfortunately, it's a dream.
Yeah.
So, and I put my 2 cents in. I said, if we don't go now, we never will.
Exactly.
And we
You
finally
start from
did.
somewhere, you know?
Didn't know where the hell we were going, but
No,
we
but
did.
you made it
We
happen.
used to have, the original committee we had, we used to meet different places, but we used to meet also at La Fontana de Trevi, which was Saro's restaurant, eh? On the other side of, on
Somerset.
Somerset,
Yeah.
before the bridge.
Yeah.
And there was Gary Gruza was there were the bunch, there were about 8 of us, 9 of us.
Yeah.
Then we were talking about trying to get somebody to be the figurehead for the fundraiser.
Okay.
And Gary had suggested, you know, what about Campo? Because incidentally, Campo's back in Ottawa. Eh? He's
is he?
97 years old,
Wow.
still alive,
Wow.
still a multimillionaire. But he was going to suggest to get him as
Bah. As a
to
figurehead.
start to give
As
the thing.
a committee
Well,
chair.
he was in Austria and he was going through the divorce. And
Yeah. So it wasn't very
family
good.
was suing him for
Yeah,
money.
yeah. Everybody was
But
suing.
all this kind of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But and then
Then we got Yacobucci. Wasn't it Yacobucci?
I was the one that got Jacobucci.
Yeah.
He knew nothing about our community.
Right.
I phoned him up.
Yeah.
I got a hold of his secretary.
Yeah.
She says, well, he's in court or something, or in. Said, I'll get him to call,
Yeah.
which he did.
Yeah.
I explained to him what it was and so on.
Yeah.
And we had our first fundraiser at St. Anthony's Soccer Club. Were you there?
Yeah.
And
Maybe
but
I
in the
wasn't.
meantime, I sent them information about Villa Marconi.
Okay. Did he
and-
come to that fundraiser?
Oh yeah, yeah.
He was there, right? So I
yeah.
wasn't there. I don't think
Yeah,
I was
he
there
came.
at that time.
And
That must have been 93, 94. 93, 94?
I forget.
1993.
Margot remembers because he made a nice speech,
Okay.
and I asked him after if he'd give me his speech,
Copy
which
of
he
it.
did. And
That'd be
then-
nice to have.
And he mentioned in there
Yeah.
that he said he knew nothing about
Ottawa.
our community
Yeah,
and so
the
on.
Ottawa community.
He says Nello phoned me up and
There you go.
gave me information.
It'd be nice to get a copy of that speech.
And so on.
Yeah.
But then things started to move from there. We had a nice turnout too.
Yeah. About 300 people, 400 people?
Oh yeah, we had a nice
Yeah.
full turnout.
Good.
And
How much money did you raise? Remember?
I don't remember.
Do you remember how much money you
But it was just it done a number of things. It done the credibility.
That's right. And the
when
support
we had
yeah,
him
of the
there
community. Yeah.
And encouraging it.
Yeah. And who was the mayor at the, oh no, it was regional council at that time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was Peter Clark?
Peter Clark was part of our committee
Okay.
because Peter Clark,
Yeah.
he would mention different things to us. Says this land's available. You know,
Yeah,
before
yeah,
they
yeah.
even built the experimental farm all
Yeah,
over there.
yeah,
said that
yeah.
land is available. This land's available.
Yeah.
That land's available.
So he
This
was very
land-
cooperative, Peter
Yeah.
Clark.
Then where the center point, the land was available.
Yeah.
And that's where we were when we started to negotiate with the civic hospital.
That's right.
Because we were going to take the land, and then they saw that we had the land, and
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But
Be
then
able
Peter Clark, they built the long-term care in his
That's
honor,
right,
right?
in his honor, that's right.
So he
Right.
he was
That's the center point.
he was very Central, and
Yeah.
he was good. Peter
Yeah.
Clark was good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I approached him with the first grant that we got, $1,014,000. He says, Angelo, you can only get $60,000 a bed, which is a total of $360,000. But on the application, didn't say that. So we applied for $1,014,000, and that's what we got. I went to pick up the check.
Yeah, he was like in the early part.
He
of
was
the
surprised.
committee, he was saying, later on we'll discuss different things.
Yeah,
But the important thing was to get the land.
that's right.
And we went, where oh Jesus, we were going to buy or put in a bid for the land off Maryville Road where the railway comes through.
Yes.
There was 14 acres there.
Okay.
It was around Christmas time.
Okay.
And they were supposed to give us a decision before.
Ah.
So then we were going to have to commit ourselves.
Yeah, yeah.
But they kept postponing it. And then eventually this Villa Marconi thing came up.
Right,
The
the nuns, the convent.
convent came up.
Yeah, yeah. So you dropped
So
that, and you
we
stuck
dropped
on
it.
the convent.
But I could tell you that the pieces of land, should have bought them ourselves.
Worth millions.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
Mion picked up a couple.
Yeah.
We picked up that piece of land at the railroad in Maryville Road.
Yeah,
He was a visionary,
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
And he was a lot younger.
He saw
a lot more
potential. That's right. A
energy,
lot of
and-
energy. Yeah.
No, he done a good job.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when the board was established in 1994, you closed the deal in 1995, September. That's when you gained the property, right? September 1995.
I remember going to some of these people that are on the board right today.
And they wouldn't give you a cent.
Now they're really part of it. They think it's,
Exactly.
which is good.
Yeah.
But when I went up there and
They
I
didn't
asked
believe
them,
it was going to happen.
I said, we're looking for $25,000 for you. Or,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what you start at.
Yeah.
And,
No, not interested.
but as things started to see
Yeah,
evolve,
yeah.
then it became different. Eh?
Exactly. Wow. They didn't want to take that
But I
chance.
can tell you the guys that I went to see.
Yeah. But they're there
And I'll tell
today.
you one guy, I won't mention his name,
Yeah, but I know
but
who it
at
is.
least he gave me $5,000.
Okay.
He says, no, he says, I don't know, he says, this might be a pipe dream, but I'm going to give it one more try. And he gave $5,000.
5,000. Then he wanted it back.
No.
At one time, he wanted it back because things weren't going his way.
Maybe later on.
Yeah. I
But he
remember
was
that.
he was good there. But
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we were looking to select somebody to run the campaign and all.
Yeah. But then
And that was
they
a
hired
good-
Boza though to get
Boza, he made a report, which
yeah,
I still have.
to see if the money was in the community to
Yeah.
make this happen. And he came back positive.
And he was talking about where to go and how to. But
And he canvassed a few people that
Yeah, he did.
could put up $50,000 or $250,000.
yeah, well, and it's pretty hard when you don't have anything to. See, we didn't have anybody in our community that really believed in something and had the backing of it.
Yeah.
If something were to go wrong,
Yeah.
to give 100,000.
But that did happen though. That did happen.
But it happened later on.
Yeah, it happened
Before
later on.
it was a struggle.
Well,
And
Mion
I
was one of
always-
those people.
And I always tell the story.
Yeah.
And it's not a story; it's a fact. That we were on the radio and people would phone in,
Yeah.
and we'd go out and get the money, and I'd go out and collect. And there was a house not far from Villa Marconi where we are now. And I knocked on the door, and the lady answered the door, and I told her, I said, I'm Nello Bortolotti, I'm here to pick up your contribution.
Yeah.
She said, oh, no, it's not me, it's la mamma.
Oh, it's the
She
mother.
invited me in,
Yeah, yeah.
and said, Mama, sono arrivati.
But really
And
want to
a little
go.
while, couple of minutes, then this old lady, she must have been 90-some, comes out with $300 like this.
Wow.
$300
Coins.
in cash.
Cash. Wow.
She was 90.
Nice. So she believed in
And when
it.
I saw that, I said, holy Jesus.
There you go.
But then I went to other seniors,
Yeah.
and pretty well the same thing.
Yeah.
You
They
know, they
believed in
give
it.
$50 or $100.
Yeah.
So the goodness was there.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Whatever they had, they gave.
But to get, like there was a lot of resistance, and criticism
Yeah.
for whatever reason,
Yeah.
eh?
Wow.
That it's not going to happen, and somebody's going to buy the land and they're going to sell it. Well, that was another thing. Eh?
Yeah.
They're going to accuse Mion of letting it go bankrupt, and so he could buy the
Buy
land.
it back.
Yeah. But on it goes.
Exactly.
But we had, it was interesting. Too bad we didn't. Yeah. Then but the Ukrainian thing was quite a thing.
Yeah. Eh.
Some
You almost bought that. But didn't the Ukrainians buy that other piece of land from the nuns?
Who did?
The Ukrainians. They bought that piece of chunk on top where the
I
parking
think
is.
they did. Yeah.
Yeah,
because
they
they're
bought it from the
Catholic.
nuns.
They're the Catholic Ukrainians.
That's
eh?
right.
Roman Catholic.
That's
Ukrainians.
right. Orthodox.
And so, but the head of the mission here, I guess, whatever it was,
They were for it,
he was for it.
but Winnipeg wasn't.
And then there was Winnipeg and Edmonton, eh? That's where the bulk of the Ukrainians are.
Yeah.
And some of the bishops wanted to sell,
Yeah.
and others didn't. And finally, I guess the other ones won out,
Yeah.
and they sold it. You
Yeah.
see, it's all built up there now. But maybe it was a good thing.
Yeah. But now, when you went to the you went to the general meeting in June, right? That's when they had their meeting, the Villa Marconi, 2013. Was there any vision with regards to buying out the Ukrainians?
Buying up what?
The Ukrainian land next to Villa Marconi,
No,
building
but
and adding.
I had for years stated that they should go after the federal government on the experimental farm,
Yeah.
which they will naturally say no.
Yeah.
But then you use another strategy that we'll make an Italian gardens that would blend in with the
Yeah.
vision and the philosophy of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
experimental farm.
Yeah.
Like, you know, an Italian garden,
Yeah.
then you could use it as
Yeah.
maybe
For the
put
community.
something on there.
That's right. Yeah.
Because I always said that you're going to need land for the expansion of the community, and not only our community,
Yeah.
but the other community. As you could see what happened in Toronto,
Yeah.
they had to go outside and
That's right.
create
Had to
more
go to
land,
Woodbridge.
which is a good thing because it went in different parts
Yeah.
of the city.
Well, that's where the community was too. The
But
community.
that would have been a good idea there,
Yeah.
because that land eventually is going to be used for something.
For sure. For sure.
Even if they deny it for years,
Yeah.
you're always in there coming with different plans
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
would placate them.
Yeah. You're
Because
right.
if you put a garden there of some
Yeah.
sort, that blends in with what they want.
Was Kolitsa at the general meeting?
Kalisa came in, well, yeah, he, first of all, there was, what's the other architect, the little guy?
Piazza?
No. There
Oh,
was Piazza.
Spadola.
Who?
Spadola?
Yeah. He,
Angelo.
Angelo, yeah,
Yeah.
Spadla. They came in with, and Paul Pellegrini he had picked him up as part of his team,
Yeah.
and he came with their presentation. We had it at the corner of Bank and Somerset. There used to be a building there, I guess it still is.
Yeah.
And John D'Onofrio had his office there.
Oh, okay. Bank in Somerset.
So we used the boardroom,
Yeah.
and they came in and made their presentation.
Yeah.
Spadula, when he presented his plans and everything else, and Paul with his,
Yeah.
and with the other fellow that I'm trying to think of his name, that was going to run the nursing home.
Which guy?
But it's a guy, I forget, but I have it there somewhere.
Gary Armstrong?
No.
From the city?
Armstrong's were later when,
He came in later.
and then we talked.
Because he was the commissioner of long-term care for the city of Ottawa, Gary
I
Armstrong.
guess so.
Gary J. Armstrong. Because I met him a couple of times at Villa Marconi.
But they were, a lot of these positions weren't stabilized then.
Yeah.
'Cause they were just
They were new positions.
Starting to grow.
Yeah.
But it was,
But Spadlo was the original architect, right?
yeah.
I think it was with Piazza. No, he wasn't with
Then
Piazza.
Piazza also,
Philip Piazza.
Philip, yeah, and he's worked for the city now.
Yeah, he's working for the city.
And he was there. Yeah, I liked him, but
Yeah,
some
yeah.
people didn't. But
Yeah.
he had his
Piazza.
ideas.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there were
And
those
I remember
two
when they had a meeting at St. Anthony's Soccer Club, when Spadula brought up his vision of Villa Marconi, the campus, the Marconi campus.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, and people were for it, and then they had an election, and that's when Gino first came in 1990, must have been 1994.
And then
June of
Kalitsa
1994.
came in after also, and well, he see what it is there now. But,
Yeah, yeah.
we, see, we had a problem. We had brought in what's his name to be the fundraiser. Then he hired Smith. I forget her first name. She was very good.
Oh yeah. Who's that? Who's the
The
head of?
white-haired lady. She had an office.
Oh, Smith. Yeah, I remember her.
Not Alexis, but she done a lot of
With Boza.
the background research and so on.
Yeah.
And what's his name had brought her in?
Boza brought her in.
Boza brought her in.
Yeah.
But
She worked for Boza.
Boza, to me, he was doing well, but then we were paying him, I forget how many thousands.
225,000
per month. And then
for a
Luigi,
year.
Then finally Luigi and me home said, what are we doing here? We can't afford this, blah, blah. So we cut them off, which
Yeah.
was the right thing to do.
Yeah, we had a year contract with him.
Because the money wasn't coming in,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
fundraising
Yeah,
stuff.
exactly. John
And the
Boza.
grants, well, there's the other thing. Very, very important. There were absolutely no grants available for long-term care when we took it on.
Yeah, but we changed that.
The laws changed later.
No, there was no grants. The first
There's
grant
no-
application we
What they
made.
would do is they'd give you some money to make a few studies.
Yes.
There's the other thing too. We went to see Bennett when he was ahead of
Oh,
the...
Claude Bennett.
Claude, he was ahead of the
Yeah.
National
Conservative.
Capital. No, what was that financial that insures all the mortgages and that.
Oh, Central Mortgage and Housing.
Mortgage, blah, blah.
Yeah.
He was a.
Oh, he was the head at that time?
So I phoned him up, got an appointment, and Lucha and I went.
Yeah.
And of course we get there, and he's, I said, well, why don't you get Gary to get involved and get him to get. I says, we have got him involved. That's why we came to see you.
He said, you have the money.
So.
Eh.
Then-
But the grant that we got, the first grant, 1,014,000, came out of the regional assessment for hospitals.
Yeah.
And they had over $10 million in that fund. And they would only give it to Villa Marconi, they'd have to give it to others. They gave it to the Glebe Center,
Yeah.
they gave it to Villa Marconi, and I think they gave it to the Montfort Hospital.
Yeah,
For
there
long-term
was a
care.
lot of politics involved.
Yeah.
You had to,
They had to cover themselves, so they
Yeah.
just wouldn't give it to one group.
but then I remember when we went to Bob,
Yeah.
and he was just an ordinary member of Parliament then, and we talked to him originally,
Yeah.
what we were trying to do and so on. He says, okay, he says, what I'll do is I'll open up a file,
Yeah.
and whenever we have, maybe you could come and address the Ottawa District Caucus, because when they come back to Ottawa,
Yeah.
they have a caucus of all of their own
Their
members,
MPs, yeah.
which we never did get there.
No.
He had opened up the file, and you know Bob, he gives a road map to go here, there, and so on. And then, but Gary, you see, the Liberals started it, but never gave no money.
No.
Right? Then the Conservatives got into power,
Yeah.
and they were the ones that gave the money.
They gave the money, conservatives. Yeah.
They were the ones that gave the money.
Well, the Liberals gave money in the sense through the municipality, because Peter Clark was a Liberal,
Yeah.
and Bob Shirley was a Liberal.
See, and but Bob helped out with making it the community with the agreement with the community center. Remember,
The Fisher Heights Community Health
they
Center.
rented it for so long.
But they wanted their money back.
Yeah,
I don't know if he ever gave it back.
No, but Bob brought things in like that, you know. And he was
But it was first that Fisher Heights Community Health Center with the elevator. Remember, I think the city
Yeah.
gave us $300,000. City of Nepean with Mary Pitt at the helm. And then we had to go to council. They loaned us the $300,000.
Yeah,
And then we made another deal when they amalgamated in 2000 with the city of Ottawa, saying that we're going to build not a health center, but a daycare center. And the $300,000 was part of that expenditure. So they probably forgave it.
yeah. You know, my vision was that there was going to be in three parts.
Yeah.
the long-term care, the community center,
Yeah.
whatever you wanted
Yeah.
to call it, and then seniors housing
Yeah.
or apartment.
Yeah.
Because when I went to cross Canada, when I was with the Congress, I'd go into these different places,
Yeah.
and when I got to Vancouver, they took me there, showed me their campus,
Yeah.
and they had the long-term care,
Yeah.
they had the community center,
Yeah.
and they had the
The retirement
senior
home.
apartment.
Yeah. Senior apartment.
And what's her name, who became a judge, she took me all around, showed me, explained it, and then the good thing about that was, and they had a nice garden in between separating
Yeah.
the long-term care and
Yeah.
the
Physical
the apartments.
separations. Yeah.
Then the seniors that could, they would look after the garden. Then they'd go and visit the seniors in long-term care
That's right.
and activities. They had all kinds of activities in the big community center.
Well, that's what Villa Charities has, or Villa
yeah.
Colombo. in
Well, that's
Toronto.
what eventually
Yeah,
came
that's
to
what
there
came
too.
with them. Yeah.
But that was my vision all along. Then, you know, we just didn't have the resort. The other thing that happened out in British Columbia, in
Yeah.
Vancouver,
Yeah.
somebody came along and gave them $12 million.
Whoa, who's that?
Villa Marconi, and I said this for years, was the only group of this nature and this project that no one came forward
No,
to
nobody
give,
came. A
say, $1 million.
substantial amount of money. Exactly. Nobody came.
500,000.
No, nobody
It
came.
started with
Nothing.
pennies. Eh?
Nickels and dimes. Yeah. Nickels and dimes. No, there was no big major donor.
And the big thing was, the granting thing was the other thing.
Yeah.
If we would have went with the seniors' apartments first,
Yeah.
we would have got all kinds of grants.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But we took it, which it worked out for the best.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, yeah.
Even with all the problems.
Yeah, but that's that's still possible to have a. You have the Marconi Center now. You have the Villa Marconi Long-Term Care Center. You can have a retirement home over where the parking lot is. If somebody had the
Yeah.
vision to do it, you still have your parking underneath and you use the air rights
Yeah. And
for your units.
we then, we had a meeting, I'm trying to think of the name of the project, where seniors would have their apartment,
Yeah,
they would kind of buy it, I guess, and then when they passed away, or if they didn't want to keep it, if they wanted to pass it on to the wife or another
Yeah,
senior,
they could do
or
that.
they could have done it, or they could have sold it to another senior.
that's right.
Kind of a condominium idea.
Yeah.
And there was money available for that. They came down and talked to us.
Yeah.
But again, all these things were happening, but we didn't have the resources or the setup to
Yeah, to be
take
able to-
advantage of it.
wow.
Like
We
the
didn't have the
Jewish
right people
community
either.
were working on these things for years and years
Yeah.
and years.
Yeah, yeah.
And they were structured. And that's the other thing I wanted, to go and talk to them,
Yeah.
because they would give you guidance of what they done.
Exactly. But
And they were friends of our community
yeah,
too, right?
people weren't there to make that happen. I
But-
don't know.
But with all of the whatever happened, it's there now.
Yeah. Well, it's still a good thing.
And it can, the only thing was the selling of the land, but nobody wanted to donate, not too many, and what were you gonna do, bankrupt it?
It was costing $100,000 a year to keep that land. If you didn't raise that kind of money,
Yeah.
that's the interest you're
Well,
paying
then
on the
after it's
mortgages.
sold, of course, everybody comes up,
Yeah,
oh, if I would have known it, I would have this, and I would have that, and that.
Yeah, but they knew,
forget-
though.
They forgot that they were told.
well, I have the publications. We published it in the newspaper. They knew,
So they have
made the
all of
last
that.
appeal.
But there's so much. Betty Bergen was good too.
Yeah.
She was a social worker and friend of Lucho's, and we went around
Yeah.
looking at these various
Yeah.
venues. And she came to one of our last, about a year ago I saw her, I guess.
Oh yeah, she came.
She's aging like all
Yeah.
of us. I guess, but
So Doris Smith was the lady's name.
yeah, Dora, you're right.
Doris
She's
Smith.
a Russian, eh?
Oh, is she? Ah, I didn't know that. Doris Smith. Yeah, I didn't know
Yeah.
that. She was Russian.
But she was good. She was
Yeah.
old,
Very thorough.
soft,
Yeah, very thorough.
but she knew.
How to raise money.
Yeah, she set up the program,
That's right. That's right.
and
Doris
she
Smith.
had been Boza. I don't know what the hell happened to him.
Oh, he's still around. He's working for the Ottawa Hospital Foundation.
he got one of those jobs.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, because the other way, there he's secure, he's getting
That's
probably
right.
150, 200,000 or more,
That's right. He's bringing in millions.
instead of having to spend his own money to,
Yeah, exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
but
John Bowes.
fundraising, that was it.
Yeah.
So we hope, see, Villa Marconi, Villa Colombo, they just celebrated their 25th anniversary a couple of years ago, I think, eh?
Yeah.
Now, they have a book.
Yeah. I have the book right here.
Did you get the book?
Yeah, I got the book. Paul Yule, you'll give it to me. That's what I'm trying to base. I'm trying to do Villa Marconi the same way.
Yeah.
Use the same template with the stories
Because
of the founders.
we've been going from our start, from late 1989 originally, but
Yeah.
for the actual operation, it hasn't been that.
No,
And
since '95 when we bought the
Yeah.
property. Right? So you
But
got
it's-
5, 13, 20 years.
And I kept saying, I said, you know, if we do it now, this is going to be there for generations to come.
Of course.
People are going to say, at least,
We got
people were
something.
thinking
Yeah,
of the future.
exactly.
And it's
It's
happening.
important.
Look at the people that are using it.
That's right.
Some of the most heavily critics of it.
Yeah, they're in there. Exactly, you're right. They're in there, using it. Eh?
So we got, the thing there now is they're limited in the expansion.
Yeah.
I guess they can still build.
Yeah. When did you start your golf committee fundraising?
23 years ago, I guess.
So it must have been 92, 91?
That was the first major fundraiser we had.
That's right. And how much you raised the first time?
Well, the first time we only made $5,000.
Yeah.
It
And
was
then
the
it
first
built.
time, and it was continuously being postponed. Because John, we were talking, and he says, look at those, I'm going to bring in so-and-so, he's a professional,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he does that.
Yeah.
So he brought him in, he was a friend of John, but then we had to pay him.
Oh, to come.
To pay him.
He wasn't free. Couldn't give him a
So
receipt.
they kept postponing the thing and blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
yeah,
blah.
yeah.
And then we finally got going. We had it at Mannerdale,
Okay.
the first one.
Yeah.
And then there wasn't that many people, but still after the expenses,
Yeah.
there's $5,000.
So that's been going on for how many? 23 years now? No.
Yeah.
Since 91, 92?
It was, let me see, I went to John, he's about 90, 92 maybe, 90, 91, in there.
Yeah.
Because I had invited John to one of our fundraising events, and I had asked him, I said, John, I said, because John was involved in a lot of fundraising for
That's right.
hospitals and everything
Yeah.
else.
Yeah.
I said, John, you gotta help us. I
Yeah.
says, we gotta get things for our own community. And he says, well, let me think about it. He says, he said, let's start a golf tournament every year.
Yeah.
I said, okay. Then I went to the board.
Yeah.
I was on the board anyway.
Yeah.
And Lucha was the president.
Yeah.
And we discussed it, and some people said, oh, blah, blah.
It's not going to work.
It's going to cost money. And this and
Negative, eh?
And anyway, we went ahead.
Yeah, you did
We
it.
were raising money. And we used to raise quite a bit of money because what we were doing, not only the golf tournament, but people were donating, corporations were donating. So we'd get 50,000.
Sponsorship. Oh, is that right? Eh?
And such like that. But then to her credit, we had, what's her name, Mirren's come on, Gallagher.
Yeah. Gallagher.
She, she was really a go-getter.
Yeah.
And she went on her own to the Italian embassy and got that
The dinner. Worth
and then,
about
of course,
$5
they
grand.
screwed it up eventually.
Yeah, they lost it.
That was a top prize for the
Yeah,
golf,
oh, sure.
which was good.
Yeah.
Okay, then they were going to use it for other fundraising, which was good again.
Yeah.
But all that was giving us a lot more money.
Yeah.
And then we were getting donations from businesses that were,
So how much do you think you raised in the last 21 years?
well, I would say we're close, over, let's see, 600, close to 700,000.
Wow. That's a lot of money, eh? From one fundraiser.
700 and maybe 5,000.
Yeah. Has anybody ever noted that you raised that kind of money?
Well, they take it for granted, I guess.
Yeah.
Then we got there again,
And you had a lot of Canadians involved in that. You had a lot of Canadians involved in that
Yeah.
golf committee.
we had a good committee at the start.
Yeah.
We had a lot of,
You had the radio announcer there. What was his name?
oh, we
The guy,
had,
the guy that was on the radio was your master of
yeah.
ceremonies. Was it Bill?
Kincaid.
Kincaid. Yeah.
Bill, isn't a good
Bill
guy.
Kincaid. Yeah.
And we
He was
had-
involved for a long time.
Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
And we had, we had a whole list of guys.
Well, the D'Onofrio family was involved there too.
Well, it was John,
Yeah.
we made him the president.
Yeah. The
And
chair.
even there, few years after, somebody on the board decided, well, we shouldn't, I was the one that gave it to John D'Onofrio Golf Club.
Yes. The
Because he
name.
done me a favor when
Yeah.
he had all the connections.
Yeah.
And then somebody gets up and says, well, we should change it and not use his name. And I got
Wow.
up and said, what the hell?
What for? You want to do that? It's a good thing.
We had nothing before.
Yeah.
Nobody here
Yeah.
has the initiative to go and take on the responsibility
That's
for
right.
long-term care
Yeah.
operation, and then to
You want to
take
change
away. What are you trying to do?
it? Exactly.
Anyway, that was quashed.
Yeah, for sure.
But
The
yeah,
guy worked so hard for that. He used all his connections.
John gave a
called all
lot
his
of money
friends.
to Villa Marconi.
Yeah.
He used to give me cash.
Wow.
He'd give me $6,000, and I'd bring it up cash
Wow.
to Dominic.
Wow. Unbelievable.
People don't know that.
No.
He's done it several times. He's done a lot of other things. He's a
Good.
good guy.
He's a good guy. He was for the
He's
community.
a great friend of our family. The D'Onofrios were
Yeah.
great
Well, they're
friends
still
of ours.
involved, right? They're still involved in the D'Onofrios are still involved in the
Yeah, oh, yeah.
golf committee.
But they got the son. I don't know. He's kind of a good golfer. He won a couple of prizes,
Oh yeah.
but he's not like John.
No. Wow.
John had
Difficult people
feeling.
to find,
John
yeah.
was a
Yeah,
great
he had a heart.
organizer because even when he was young, he was all organizing sports.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, when we used to go down there, and he was a little, but a couple of years older than I was,
Yeah.
and he was the youngest of the boys.
On the boys, the D'Onofrio boys. Yeah.
And that's when I, well, of course,
Yeah.
70 years.
Yeah.
But I told you the story, they took him off the ship going overseas
No.
for Second World War. He went up and he lied about his age,
Oh.
and he's still a kid, eh?
Yeah.
Because he had five of the, no, one, two, I think it was either 4 or 5 brothers
Yeah.
were all overseas.
Ah.
And of course the mother was panicky.
Oh, for sure.
They were loading him, they were getting him on ready to at Halifax, the ship
To go on.
to get going,
Yeah.
and they pulled him off the ship
Wow.
because they got all excited. He went to McElrea. He was
George McElrath.
George McElrea.
The
He's the
MP.
one, because they explained he was underage to begin with, and they
Yeah.
pulled him off.
Wow. Unbelievable.
And they brought him to Ottawa, but they let him stay in the army, and then he became of age.
Ah.
Then he
Well, he must have been
was at-
15 then. 15,
he
16
was-
years old.
He was
Eh?
at the Rideau Center, not the Rideau Center, where the hospitals were now, the general,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it was all military. And he was in there because he had,
In
I
Alta
don't know, he'd
Vista.
done something on the roof, fell off, and it broke his wrist. And all his life, he always had a ball
Problem.
for the
his
nerves
wrist.
and that.
Wow.
Then the war came to an end, or pretty well, and then the mother would ask my father, said, get him if you could get him a job. So he worked for my father for a couple of years with
Tiles.
George Lupiano. I don't
Yeah.
know if you know George.
Yeah.
George was quite a guy.
Yeah, he worked at the hotel
And then
here.
he went to
Yeah, he
Prescott
lived
Hotel.
on George Street. Yeah.
Yeah.
George Lupiano.
But George worked with my father for years and years.
Ah, okay.
And so John worked for my father. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
But he never forgot that.
Never
He
forgot that,
forgot when my parents used to help their family.
Yeah. How many
bring down
boys? 8
food.
boys?
8.
How many boys did they have? 8 boys?
They had about 6, I think.
6 boys.
5 or 6. I keep
No
forgetting.
girls.
Then they had 2 girls.
Okay.
Then she was a widow, Mrs. D'Onofrio,
Oh,
the father
sorry.
would died young, relatively young. He was on the railroad,
Wow.
working on the railroad.
So how did they survive, these kids?
And well, that's it. As John used to say, the mother would pray for snow so the boys could
Go
out,
shovel snow.
shovel snow.
Unbelievable, man.
My parents used to bring them down food and that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
John never ever forgot that.
Wow, well, of course.
Never
Eh?
forgot it. And neither
course.
did the other children.
The other children. The other children still alive? No.
And most of them are dead
No, most dead.
because they were older and
Yeah.
they were all overseas too. They
Yeah,
were-
yeah.
But
Wow.
then one of his sisters was in the long-term care in Orleans
Yeah.
with him.
Oh.
Eventually.
His
How the
sister.
hell he got down there, I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
they didn't have room in Villa Marconi.
Oh, so you went
That's
down
where
there.
he should have been.
Yeah.
Because his friends could have visited him.
Exactly.
Because a lot of them quit a drive out there.
Oh, for sure.
Some went, but
Yeah.
I used to go out all the
And
time.
they couldn't get him at Villa Marconi. Couldn't
But
bring
they
him
should have been there because
Yeah.
he'd done a lot.
back. Exactly.
But they got him in there, and that was it.
Yeah.
Well, I better get going.
You gonna go?
What the hell time is it? I got so much to do and
It's
no
about
time to do
3:30.
it.
Eh? It's only 3:30.
Yeah, it's about
lots of time.
What time?
3:30.
Yeah, well,
You got lots of time,
I'm
man.
supposed to be doing other things.
Like what? This is good to know, eh? Good to know all this stuff.
But it was very interesting.
Eh? How about your sports career, Nello? Your sports career. You're famous in. Which sports were you famous in?
Another thing.
Eh?
I played a lot of sports. But
Yeah, you played lots of sports, eh?
lacrosse was my game. and
Lacrosse, eh?
football.
You got lots of trophies for that.
I got a few.
You got a few, eh?
Somebody,
You don't show them off though. What's going on, Nello? Eh?
well, they're all good.
You were a
I played
lacrosse
good.
champion.
But we had a lot of good.
There were a lot of sports in that time, in the 40s and.
Well, the thing was, and we had when I played for St. Pat's College at the time.
Oh, you
not
played.
the high
Well, you
school.
went to St. Pat's, eh? You went to the high school and the college.
No, I went to Tech High School.
Yeah, and then you went to the college.
Then I went to St. Pat's.
College
We
with
had
the
got-
Oblates.
We had got we call them scholarship. We got money in
To
order
play.
to play.
Oh.
So on our team we had, Vince Capogreco, the
Yeah.
dentist, he
Yeah.
became a dentist.
Yeah.
He was a good football player.
Okay.
And so he got a scholarship to McGill.
Ah. Okay.
So that's
That's
where
how he became a dentist.
That's, yeah. But
Ah.
originally he was to come with us to St. Pat's.
Yeah.
But Vic Obeck, who was a head of, who knew, because Vincent played for the Rough Riders too.
Okay.
Eddie Michaels, you wouldn't know him,
No.
but he was an American, knew Vic Obeck,
Okay.
who was the head of the athletics in
Yeah.
McGill, and he told Vincent, he said, I'll talk to Vic,
Yeah.
and you got the qualifications to go into the university,
Yeah.
I'll talk to Vic and
Make
see
sure you
what
get
he
in
can
and get a
do."
scholarship.
And he did, and he got him, and a couple of days before we went to St. Pat's to start our
College.
football,
Yeah.
he went to McGill.
Ah.
And he got his
degree.
graduated, and he graduated
Dentist.
at the top of his class.
From Lada,
And
yeah.
as a matter of fact, he set up a program out west for the Aboriginal people in
Is that right?
Saskatchewan, I guess it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
he set up all that program. He was good at
Vince
good organizer.
Capobrego.
So anyway, he went there, and so I went with Rudy Capogreco.
Yeah. He had the
Rudy-
cleaners. Didn't he have the cleaners? Rudy
The
Capobrego?
cleaner, yeah. There was myself, Rudy,
Yeah.
Silvio Tietzi,
Tietzi, yeah.
and Peter Capello, the
Yeah,
doctor, the surgeon.
Yeah.
Well, we all played for St. Pat's College.
Wow.
But I didn't quit my job. I stayed at work.
What work were you doing?
I was working at Wilson Johnson. Now, that was the stupidest mistake I ever made. Eventually, I bought the company anyway, but I would go early in the morning
Yeah.
to classes,
Yeah.
then late at night,
Play.
and all this kind of stuff. Then they have training in the afternoon,
Yeah.
and I'd have to get off work and run there because it wasn't that
You're
far
a busy
away.
life.
But then it was, I should have, I know if I would have gone to Mr. Welch, he would have allowed me to do it.
To do it.
But I said, Jesus, this is getting too hard. But anyway, I played for them. We used to play against Kingston,
Yeah.
go to Quebec City, to Bishops.
So
We
you were
played-
traveling. You were
We
traveling.
beat Ottawa University at that time.
Did you win? Were you
Oh,
the champs?
We were the top. Here's something funny. We were the top team in the league.
Wow.
Then we had a playoff situation where the top team played the bottom team.
Okay.
Pushover.
Yeah.
And you know who the bottom team was? Carleton College. It wasn't a university.
Oh, it wasn't a university. Wow.
So we played at Lansdowne Park,
Yeah, yeah.
and of course, because everybody says, "Oh, we
They're
always
pushovers.
we beat the hell out of them all the time," and then they beat us.
They beat you. Oh my God.
So we lost. Ottawa University won, and we beat every team. Ottawa University. We played them one at Varsity Oval. I don't know whether you remember Varsity Oval.
No.
We played them there, and they didn't get over the 50-yard line all day.
Wow.
That's how
That
good
is-
our team was,
Give you
the line.
defense. Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
had to
Unbelievable.
But Peter Capello was, Silvio was a good athlete,
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah. He was
Peter
all-
was, they were all good athletes. Peter was a good lacrosse player, too.
Yeah, yeah.
Rudy was a good athlete, even though he was big.
Yeah.
He was really fast for a man that size. But he was a great organizer.
Yeah, because I remember they had the Silvio Tiezzi Award at St. Pat's.
Yeah, yeah.
And
well,
a few years ago, we gave them
I don't know what happened.
scholarship.
They lost it, but
Yeah.
what happened one time? We were going to Kingston to play. It was raining. Oh, geez, it was
Yeah,
raining.
yeah, yeah.
And we were in our locker rooms, and I couldn't find my cleats.
Ooh,
Somebody had taken my
your cleats.
friggin' cleats.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was one set left,
Yeah,
and I said, "Well, I'm going to take them."
yeah. Yeah.
So I did.
And what
And we
happened?
get to Kingston, and the field is muddy anyway. So Silvio comes to me and says, "No," he said, "did you take my cleats?" I said, "I don't know." I said, "Somebody took
Took mine. Yeah, yeah.
And sure enough, they were his cleats.
Okay.
But then I got my own cleats back. Somebody said, "Oh, I made a mistake." So I got it back. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we went to Kingston and played Royal Military College.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
yeah. So how long did you work for Welch and Johnson?
well, over 52 years, I guess.
52 years. No.
Well, I ventured for 15 of those years. I owned the business.
You owned the business. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah. Well, they were
52 years.
big. Okay? We had 200 and, at the peak, we had 206 employees.
206.
We had different departments.
So what happened at the end? You sold it out, or
Yeah,
you
I
sold
sold it to Burke's,
Brooks Ignition on Richmond Road?
but they screwed it up.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
everything was changing then too.
Yeah,
AC
yeah,
Delco. We were the main warehouse for AC Delco,
AC Delco,
which was
okay.
supplied all the GM dealerships.
Yeah,
There were
yeah,
a lot
yeah,
more
yeah.
then. And we had warehouses where we would supply the general trade
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
also
I see
the jobbers.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
had
yeah.
we had the next to the manufacturer was us,
Yeah.
and then we distributed them.
And you were on Bank Street. When you were on
Yeah,
Bank
we were
Street?
started on Bank.
Yeah, yeah.
We had 14 branches.
All over Ottawa?
No, we had 4 in Ottawa,
Okay.
then the rest in the outskirts. Then we had our big main warehouse in Ottawa too, not only on Bank Street,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
on Gladwin Crescent.
Oh, yeah, okay. I know.
We had a big
The
warehouse
city
there
is.
that we supplied all the jobbers. And,
Wow. So you sold it to Brooks Ignition then?
yeah. But then we
So what year was that? 70?
90,
In the 90s you sold it out? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Good for you.
and
And what happened to the land on Bank Street? You sold that, or?
sold it. It's a senior citizen.
Yeah.
The land, I didn't have the land, but I was going to buy it. All that Bank, McLeod,
Yeah.
and Flora.
Yeah, it's a big piece of
Then I
property
said,
there.
what am I doing? I said, I was going to carry on.
Yeah, yeah.
But I said, shit, I have no kids or anything. What am I doing?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because if my nephews would have been interested,
Interested, yeah.
and 2 of them were actually, and Michael
Yeah,
was
yeah.
on the fire department,
Yeah.
he liked automobiles,
Yeah, yeah.
but he was small.
And
at the
Perry
time.
was interested in
And
all
Perry was very good.
Yeah.
Perry worked for me,
Yeah.
and but I think he would have made a good. He would have been
He would have
done all
managed,
right because
yeah.
he had the moxie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because his business now, he's done terrific.
Terrific too, yeah. He's
Yeah,
a good.
he's-
He's a hard worker and.
Oh well, he knows.
he's-
He's,
he's-
smart.
yeah,
he's
he's
a
smart.
good salesman.
Yeah, yeah.
He knows
yeah.
how to talk to people,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
he knows his product.
Yeah, yeah.
But
yeah.
they all worked for me. I had so many people work for me. Oh,
You had about 200 people.
206 people at the
Wow.
peak.
Wow, at the peak. Wow.
But I was.
So
at
what
that
made you get
time-
into Welch and Johnson?
Hey,
Why did you get into Welch and
because I
Johnson?
won the prize when I graduated in the electronic, and we call it electronics today, and fuel systems.
So you had an expertise.
And so I.
You were interested in that.
They went there, but I was supposed to go to Oshawa. I worked with AC Delco. I went to Toledo because we warehoused all the original equipment products.
Wow.
For all GM, for Chrysler.
That was big. That's a big operation, man.
Yeah, all the English cars that came.
Yeah.
Bosch,
Oh, yeah.
like Mirrors, like Carly Motors and all that.
Yeah.
The father of those guys,
Well, I met
they
the
were
father.
big. They were big.
Yeah.
When he first came over from Latvia, I guess it was,
Yeah.
and he used to come in, couldn't hardly speak English, to come to me, and I'd sell him some brushes for an alternator, for a generator, because there wasn't alternators then,
No alternators, yeah.
and bushings and stuff. And he had a small little garage just on the outskirts of Ottawa, and because it was small, Ottawa was small.
Yeah.
And I used to sometimes, he'd phone me, and I'd bring out the stuff
Parts
to him.
for him. Wow.
So, anyway, then the sons grew up, and the father too, and they took over. I forget how many dealerships they had. They had the Volkswagen, they had this and everything else.
Mercedes and Audi.
But whenever the father